let's preview the top 5 showdown that we've been waiting the last couple weeks for.
Yeah.
Indiana had the bye week to prepare for their biggest game of the year. Undefeated coming in, one of just 3 undefeated teams left, with BYU losing last week. You've got Oregon and Indiana, 2 of them in the Big Ten, and the third one is Army, who's going to play Notre Dame this week at Yankee Stadium, which we'll be there for. But Indiana, number 5 in last week's college football playoff ranking, expect that to be the same this week. It'll come out tonight. We're recording this on a Tuesday morning, but going to number 2 Ohio State. This is big noon on Fox. The week to prepare, all of the noise, the new extension for Curt Cignetti, all of what's gone into what is a culmination of the great story of college football. And yet here's Ohio State with a must win, because if they lose this game, they completely probably take themselves out of the college football playoff conversation. They might still be in there, but it's all out of their control. So a huge game for both teams.
Yeah, it really is. I now, again, there's a lot of talk with these SEC teams too, that the 2-loss team, maybe even a 3-loss team is still in the playoff conversation. I think Ohio State is still going to be in that conversation, but they want to take care of business. And that's why, I think they're playing well right now. They're a double-digit favorite in this game. As good as Indiana's season has been, this will be by far the hardest game Indiana has played. I mean, look, Curt Cignetti and nobody on that roster had anything to do with their schedule and who they played, and the fact that they haven't played ranked opponents, but they've just whipped everybody except Michigan was the closest game that they played. But this will be a tall challenge because Ohio State is the most talented team that they will have faced. And the game's going to come down to, the things that games like this come down to. Who runs the football better? Who can run the ball and defend the run? Who wins the turnover battle? And who can create the most explosive plays on offense? And so these are 2 teams that are statistically are right next to each other on both offense and defense in terms of efficiency and productivity. And the thing about Indiana, and this is what people look, there's going to be millions of people to watch this game. And I hope Indiana plays well. I mean, I don't care who wins. I just hope it's a good game, because what people need to see about Indiana is they are as fine of a coached football team as anyone in college football in terms of their execution level on offense and in defense, their scheme, their game plan. They are really, really well coached, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah. The one thing I will ask you is, as we look towards the college football playoff conversation, I think a lot of people, you mentioned, and you're right, that the SEC discourse right now is fascinating, where you've got 2 or 3 lost teams that people are still considering to be viable options versus ACC teams that are rolling through and potentially aren't going to make it all together. Indiana's this interesting case study where I think everybody has looked at them and said, okay, look, you have to rank them where they are right now. They're undefeated. They've handled their business, and they, to your point, have dominated their competition. But I think a lot of people are saying, well, the schedule is so weak compared to everybody else that if they don't at least put together, like if they go in there and it's a 1-score loss, I think everybody's going to say, okay, they deserve to be in. But if they go in there and they lose by 28, I think the conversation becomes a little different.
I agree completely. And even if they find, still win in the Oaken bucket game against Purdue and finish with that 1 loss, I think how you lose, particularly at this point in the year, is meaningful. I think it's big, because look, the people on the committee, they've got all kind of analytics at their disposal, and they can compare and contrast and do this, but they're still humans, right? So the eye test is still important. So look, Ohio State has a loss. That loss, the 1-point loss to Oregon in Game 6, has not hurt them, right? They're sitting here at number 2. If Indiana goes into Columbus and plays well and doesn't get blown out, I think they're still going to have a really good chance to make it in the college football playoff.